Oh shoot. Okay. We're live.
Welcome
Um,
in.
I am. I am partially better, but still not completely healed. So I'll be muting my mic off and on quite a bit tonight. Um, we got lots to talk about. We're here to talk about the Western Michigan game.
We got to do our picks.
And we got to do our picks tonight. I got them ready to go for you guys.
All right.
I got picked out some games. These aren't going to be easy.
I will not be taking Nebraska to beat Colorado this week. Piss on the Cornhuskers. They screwed me for the last time.
Okay. So before we get started with Western Michigan, let's talk about what what seems stupid. What Nico Rahagini got publicly reprimanded for, and he had to make a public apology.
Yeah,
somebody. How stupid was that? Because I watched the video back of his thing. He really didn't say a lot. He didn't even really criticize them. He just said, "What am I supposed to tell them? Am I supposed to say, And he used a couple of F words. It wasn't like he's saying, "Yeah, they just fucked up." I mean,
No, he did.
Yeah,
did you see the video I shared?
Why? You must have had a different video than I had, because I saw another video where he basically was just kind of using it as.
I shared the live response.
Is he using a COVID year, or is he just a real senior?
No, he's using the COVID year.
He's a 6th year. This is it.
Yeah, so he should know better. Honestly, I mean, I get it.
He said it to the reporters.
Yeah.
He said they asked him the question, right? They knew what was coming, but they were expecting a Kirk Ferentz response. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he says something like, "This is my last year. What's the NCAA or no? Yeah, what's the NCAA going to do to me? Fine me, you know?" Right. And then he's like, "It was a F and S word call, bull S call." Like,
yeah.
No, he went into it, and everybody started laughing. He goes, "I probably shouldn't have threw in the F bomb," but and then all the reporters were just laughing, saying, "Don't worry, we won't share this."
Yeah, it got shared. Yeah. No, I just I thought it was kind of funny because, I mean, basically what's he get at? Slap on the wrist and say, "Bad boy." He doesn't get a suspension or anything.
No, that's all it is. And even J-Bo said he got one, and
Connor said Connor got one.
I'm sure Connor's had more than one, but
like, I'm pretty sure I've gotten this a few times.
Well, what you don't want is for the officials to now, call games a certain way because they could take offense to it, but overall, this is nothing. It's
well, if they go back and they actually look at the tapes, I mean, I don't know if they review tapes, each week and see how they did on their calls and stuff, but if they do, they will see that they blatantly missed that one. Yeah. There were other ones that could have gone either way, but basically they let these guys play.
Yeah. Well, it's been a fun week for Iowa football at the microphone, right? Between some random stuff Kirk said, we've got Cade, what he said, that was kind of goofy, and now Nico's stuff. It's they're having fun. There you go. Hey.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are.
Man, so much drama today.
By the way, if anything, I actually like the fact that Nico is calling it out, right? Because so many times these guys do just give the coach speak answer. There's stuff that goes both ways that gets missed, or in that case, I could have done a little better job trying to fight through and get high point the football or whatever. But no, I mean, sometimes these things don't get changed. They don't get addressed. They don't, I guarantee you, if they didn't go back and look at it, now I bet you they are, right? I bet you they do go back and go, you know what? We can't have the players calling us out like this, but at the same time, we can't miss calls like that.
Right.
Well, they get graded every week.
Right.
So all the officials get graded every week. That's how they use a grading system for them to ref in the bigger games, right?
Right.
So they try to get the best refs for the big dogs. So they do grade them. So they saw everything this game, so they know.
Well, let's get to the Western Michigan a little bit. I do kind of want to talk about the controversy I kind of set off this morning on my text group, but I think I'll just let that go for now. I was the only one.
I prepared myself for the new show. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. If you want me to say anything about the Iowa State game, I can.
Yeah.
Because I've watched it. I took notes. Like, I have everything about that game.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready to go on your new YouTube channel yet?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to start the new show will be, I'm going to say tomorrow, maybe during the day, or Friday during the day.
Okay.
Just for like the first show. I know there won't be, people watching it because it'll be during the day. People will be at work, but I just want to get the channel up and going.
Right.
And I do have somebody helping me edit. So that's really cool. So I'm going to be going to another level with the editing, with the highlights, where I can talk over the highlights and stuff. So that's going to be fun.
I've asked for some help on taking this show to a new level with editing and intro stuff and
speaking of highlights,
but so far nobody's offered to come forward. Do
either of you guys have YouTube TV?
Yes. Yeah.
So I have that. Do you know, like, it has a built-in like highlights feature for games?
Yes.
Yeah. How cool is that?
That is really cool. Actually,
you're talking to guys who've had YouTube TV for a while.
Okay. I've only had it for like a week now, and I stumbled upon that for the Iowa. I was saying, what is this? And it's like 20. Right? I think this week was like 27 key plays or something. So literally, you can get everything you need to get out of a game in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can. But as you said, Paul, you like to know what's going on in between plays.
I do.
What the announcers say.
That's why I don't even really like the BTN and 60. I do enjoy the commentary between plays and whatnot. So,
well, for BTN for being part of the Fox network, I'm a little disappointed that they haven't put the Iowa State game in the 60-minute format yet, unless I've missed it. But I've checked.
No, they won't. They only do certain teams. They don't do the same. All the Big Ten teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I believe this week they only do like 3 or 4 games a week, and this week was like the Rutgers game, the Ohio State game, Michigan State game, I think, in Maryland.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they did 4 games this week.
So they're only 60-minute, the games that aired on their network.
Probably.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, guys, as you guys know, that Western Michigan leads our series 2-1. But the last time we beat them was kind of an interesting fact. We beat them 59, I think, to something. I forgot what it was. 59-3. 59-3. And you know who the coach was of the team at that time?
Of what team?
Western Michigan at the time we beat them 59-3.
I don't know.
Oh, it's probably was it Campbell?
Nope. You're getting on. You're kind of treading in the right direction. PJ Fleck.
PJ Fleck.
PJ Fleck.
Yeah. Yeah. Was he really?
That's what the information I got when I was doing my research for the show.
That must have been like his first year there. But
sounds like their rowboat capsized.
That was the game that Martin Manley had 2 punt returns for touchdowns, and it was a crazy game.
Yeah,
that was my oldest boy's first ball game, I believe.
Okay. Do you think Iowa will ever score 59 points in a game again?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's possible. It's possible this week because of how bad the team is. But like in that game, they scored 59 because they got 2 punt returns, right?
Special teams being special.
Yeah, the coaches have no chance to say, "Hey, don't score!" Right? On a punt return, you're going to score. It's games like that where they're like really bad, where they turn the ball over like the Illinois just was it 2019 against Illinois? Iowa scored 60, like 64 or something like that. So the game has to go the right way for Iowa to score that many. And this weekend is one of those games. But if they don't score 40 this week, like I've already said, they may not score 40 because this is one of those games where this team is. We've seen them, right? We thought this about Utah State, but they're actually better than what we thought just by watching. Now we're 2 games in, and Western Michigan can't stop the pass. They blitz 5 or 6 on every single play because they can't stop the run. I mean, there's going to be receivers open. If Cade is on, but if you think about it, if Cade didn't get hurt and he's been on like both games, Iowa scores 40 against Utah State. True. Last week, they at least scored probably, was it 38? Well, they missed 14 points for sure, right? So they scored 20, so 34 points, let's say, because Vines was gone and then Anderson was gone. Those were his last 2 passes. Yeah. Right? His last 2 passes, he only threw 2 passes in the fourth quarter, and they both were wide open, and they could have went for 160 yards. So, I mean.
Well, okay, speaking of Western Michigan on the passing, they gave up 286 yards in 2 games so far this year of passing total. Not total, but average.
I was going to say, no, I watched.
Yeah.
I watched the Syracuse game.
Yeah.
And I watched their game against Francis. Mm-hmm. And Francis, I don't even know who they are. They're probably, I'm guessing, FCS level.
Oh, I would guess that or smaller.
And they were throwing the ball all over Western Michigan as well. Yeah. So, watch the highlights of that game on YouTube, and you're going to be like, geez, they don't cover anybody. So this week, it should be one of those weeks where I mean, the coaches won't have any choice because the players are going to want to explode, right? Right. That's how, in a Kirk Ferentz scheme, that's how he wins. And if it's one of these games where they're up 20-0 again, like they were against Iowa State, or 20-3, he's not going to stop the offense because there's no chance Western Michigan's going to come back with the defense he has now, right? The games that he lost, if you remember, they didn't have a defense. Yeah. So the last one they lost was with Wiseman at running back.
Right. And I think a couple things have to happen in this game. Now that Cade is fully healthy enough and practice all week, he needs to be in the game for a while, at least 3 quarters until whatever they blow out. If they blow out 50-0 or something, then he needs to come out. But this will give him time to work on his timing with his receivers. He needs that. We need to work on the running game. And so this would be a good game to try to blow up some holes. So if we do get out to a quick start like we have been, this would be a good game. I mean, it would look like that we're going to try to go conservative, but it'd be a good game for, Caleb Johnson to work on his running through his holes and burst through the holes and stuff. I'm a little disappointed at how he started the season so far, except his 1 punt return or kickoff return. That's the only thing I think he's done well so far.
Coach Ack, I've got a question for you from a coaching philosophy, because I'm sure there's 2 different mentalities to this, right? So Iowa has 2 options here. They can probably come out, run their stuff, probably should win, 35-3, something along those lines, unless we do get some crazy scores, some defensive scores, things like that, which are very possible. But my question is, this feels like an opportunity for Iowa to try some things offensively, trick plays kind of thing, right? And some people would say, well, if you're going to do those, you save them for like the Penn State game, right? On the other hand, the other mentality is, hey, especially Iowa loves to run those kind of trick plays when they have like a 35-0 lead. When they feel like if something goes, drastically wrong in the process of trying to do something out of character for them, they're when we ran the trick play against Ohio State, that fake field goal thing, I think Iowa was up big in that game when they ran it. They didn't need to run it then, but they did. My question is, if they do those kinds of things against Western Michigan, now all of a sudden Penn State kind of has to prepare for those things, right? They have to spend time. Okay, they could try to come back and run this back again because they were successful, or whatever, right? Which takes away a little bit of prep time from them going against our bread and butter, the stuff that we are going to run no matter what. Right.
But that is two different schemes.
Right.
I would personally, like me, I would save them because they know what you're going to do, right? So if you ran the trick play, they're not going to see it coming. Penn State, that is. So I wouldn't want to use those this week. This week, I would just work on catching the ball, 80% completion percentage for the quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. This is the week to just comparing what all the other teams did to Western Michigan, right?
Right.
To me, this is the week to play like you're going against air. Right. Nobody can cover Iowa's receivers on Western Michigan. No one can stop the tight ends. They should not be able to get to Cade. Even though they do send 5, we're going to have 5 blockers. If they send 6, we'll have a running back in there. We've already proved we can protect Cade, right? He is a master in the pocket, and have you seen that? He can move around in the pocket, even when he had a bum quad, per se. I mean, it wasn't that
Cade
bad.
Also seems to really – his pre-snap game is strong. So,
yes.
So, I mean, Iowa can go empty, and if Western Michigan reveals their hand and shows where that blitz is coming from, that extra rusher, Cade will punish them.
That's the key. That right there is what I was going to say is against Iowa State, they ran empty 5 times, and we got 4 completions out of it. So he is good back there in empty just because he can read the field, right? So he was 4 out of 5, and he completed 7 passes in a row, 4 of them being in empty. And the one incompletion pass, the only one was that, I don't know, you can call it a drop to all or a low throw. The one where all ran the slant and he had to go down to get it. I mean, it was a bad throw because all was wide open. And it probably should have been caught, even though it would have been for like a 4-yard gain instead of what it could have been. So you can go both ways. It should have been 5 for 5. If you're Brian as the OC, you would count that as 5 for 5 for me. Yeah. You didn't execute it. That was a good play call.
Yeah, and by the way, 4 yards, especially in an early down, like a first down, 4 yards is a big deal for the Iowa offense. You want to be in 2nd and 6 or better, right?
Well, right.
So,
I was just saying in terms of what it could have been if it was a good pass.
Yeah.
Like there was a pass to Regini that he caught on it was 3rd down and like 4, 6, somewhere in that range. And if he just puts it out in front of Regini and lets him catch it, he could have ran and got the first down. But he threw the ball behind him, so Regini, it was a drag route all the way across the field, and Regini had to catch it. And then when he caught it, he went like this. Well, he got hit because he had to slow down to catch the ball. So there's just those little things. It could be because Cade hasn't played for a year, right? I just think it's all going to start to come back to him. And we could just see how much better the offense is already because every single game they have gotten a double-digit lead in the first quarter or just right into the second quarter on that same drive that the first quarter ended on. So the thing is this week, I don't think the coaches can should not be able to stop them from scoring.
Here's the next thing I wanted to talk about. Dean, I'm sorry for kind of taking over here.
Go for it, Daddy. I'm listening.
So the first 2 weeks of the season, one thing we've seen is the Iowa offense has come out and been sharp those first couple of possessions, right? I mean, of course, we had the short field against Utah State, but 2 plays, big play, touchdown, whatever. But then we come back and we go on the long drive. It looks to me like one, the Brian and the coaching staff, they're doing a really good job of game planning, early game execution, that kind of first 15 play script. But is something happening once we kind of get out of that script that?
Well, they're not really, so far this year, they haven't really scripted. Like Utah State game, they didn't script at all. That's why Cade said, if you remember to just prove my point, in his post-game interview, he said he was shocked that Brian called that play so early in the game. The second play of the game where he threw the touchdown to Anderson. Mm-hmm. So they didn't script anything there. Okay. So they haven't been working off of a script this year, I don't believe.
Okay.
I know they didn't get Utah State, but I only know that for a fact because of what Cade said. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if, because Cade is, still, you got to remember, this playbook is hard to learn. That's why you're seeing there's so many new faces, with the exception of the offensive line. That's why you're seeing all those timeouts on offense against Iowa State, because Cade's trying to put people in place. And maybe there was a couple of times or one time where Cade didn't really know, where they had to call timeout because he had people going. He's like, no, you got to, right? So they're still learning this playbook. So, we talk about how even Padilla said he didn't even understand the playbook for 2 years. Wow. So Cade's putting in all this hard work, where he started when he got on campus, just completely on the playbook. So, and, Brown's running the wrong route, but Brown played a lot in that game. I went back and watched it. Brown could have had a touchdown again, like against Utah State. They knocked the ball down at the line of scrimmage on a slant route where he could have just ran right up the middle of the field. And then they did it again on the third down play on the opening drive when they got the field goal. He had Brown on the out route, and he was going to Brown, but the defensive line knocked it down. You probably remember that because I believe it was this show we talked about.
Right.
You need to get the defensive line down, right? You got to engage to get them down, so they can't jump like that. Mm-hmm. So, it's good evening, Casey. But to your point, Paul, it depends. I'm going to guess because Kirk doesn't share a dang thing. But you know what I mean? He just doesn't. And that's how I would be as far as a trick play, because I want them to think that's what I'm going to do when we run that, right? Mm-hmm. And then we do the trick play off of it, something that they've never seen. But I do understand your way, and coaches are like that. There is another Hawkeye podcast. He only does the Twitter thing, but I can't remember his name now. Chris Hansen or something. But he.
Do you mean Chris Williams?
Maybe
Chris Hassel.
Chris Hassel. That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Chris Hassel and Chris Williams do one together.
Oh, okay. And the other one's the Iowa State fan, right?
Yeah.
Chris Williams or whatever.
Chris Williams, the Iowa State guy.
Okay.
He's actually the play-by-play guy for Iowa State.
Oh, okay. Wow. That would be rough. But hey, Chris Hassel is like what your other way is. Mm-hmm. He wants you to put all of your cards on the table and make Penn State prepare for everything.
Right.
That's what Hassel says, which I'm not. Like I said, it depends on your style of coaching. Where I'd rather you just not know until it happens.
I'm trying to go through my catalog of Hawkeye lore in my head. I don't remember Iowa running anything tricky dicky on the road. The trickiest thing that I recall is taking the safety at Penn State, right, in the 6-4 win. We typically kind of reserve those things for home games because, like I said, they can be such a momentum shifter that
they ran a few, if you remember, just last year at Illinois. If you remember right, they ran some weird stuff that they never ran before.
Okay.
And the one lost like 7 or 8 yards. It took them out of field goal range.
Right.
And they did that one down on the goal line where they were trying to do a reverse to Bruce. And something happened with Petrus. And, they did that shovel pass to Laporta where they faked it to Bruce and did the shovel.
Right.
Like they did a lot of things they never – and we haven't seen that play since.
Right.
We haven't seen that shovel pass since that. So, like, against Illinois, they did some interesting things. But I would still – I mean, if it's there and they're executing in practice, I would do it against Penn State if you're not, doing what – I mean, just to break up – if you're getting your butts kicked, your offensive line can't do anything, then I would. Definitely.
And by the way, it's hard to run those things, too. If you can't block – this is the other thing too, because we were talking about this like last year and during offensive struggles. If you can't run the zone and you can't block the zone, the stretch runs, you can't block this, you can't pass protect for this, you can't run anything exotic, if you can't block the bread and butter.
Right. Have you noticed? We haven't seen much zone this year. Have you guys noticed all the counters we're seeing and the straight ahead blocking?
Yeah.
Oh, and Hayden Large, he had a big game. He had a great game blocking against Iowa State.
Is that
him and Colby both?
Is that maybe that Baumauer? What's his name? Burmeister?
Huh? I mean, he might, because it is the Wisconsin.
Budmeyer, is that maybe?
Yeah, but I don't think it's on him because he's the quarterback guy, and I don't know how deep they go, right? And usually coaches, when you're coaching, you just do your job, right? When you're an assistant, because that's why it's called coaching etiquette, because a lot of those plays Brian runs when they get blown up, in their minds or even behind closed doors, they're like, God, what is Brian calling, right? So like the coaching etiquette, I couldn't see Burmeister go in and say, hey, this is what we did at Wisconsin, and but you never know. They could have sat down and had supper, and everybody just talked and came up with ideas.
That sounds more like an off-season type thing, where they're getting together,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They could have got together for like supper at Kirk's house, and they all just brainstormed a lot of different ideas. So it could have been his idea, and now they're letting Barnett teach it. But we're doing more. I think they're going away from the zone a little bit because the athletic ability to run those zone blocking schemes, I don't think this line has that.
And it just takes
ahead power.
Yeah, it really takes time to develop that, right? Like the timing and just everything. Like if you get 5 freshmen that together and they kind of come up by year 2, 3 in the system, they could probably run it fairly effectively. But you've got all these new faces, transfer portal guys, and whatever else, and I mean, that doesn't seem like the smartest thing to do, is to try to get these guys to look like a well-oiled machine when they haven't had the time to develop that.
But I think it's more the athletic ability of our linemen.
Okay.
I don't see any of them being very – Colby is about the only one that can pull. So now they're pulling the tight end, right? Instead of having a fullback, Hayden was pulling from the tight end spot, if you didn't notice. So like Hayden is the fullback / tight end, and there was times he was the fullback, and he actually caught a pass from the fullback position from Cade. But they're using athletic guys to pull now, and Connor Colby's about the only one on the line that's not just brute strength, and Jones, but you can't expect Jones who is only in his second year at center, to do what Linderbaum could do. Stretch. Linderbaum could snap the ball and still stretch and get a blocker. He could pull. Linderbaum could do everything, right?
Right.
I don't know if Jones can do that. He appears to be athletic enough but he's only been doing it for 2 years, right? He was a defensive guy. So I'm thinking we're going more downhill strictly because they seem to be better with power. Although the last game, but I would say is a good defense. I think we had 7 or 9 plays that for tackles for a loss against us. So, which is why Johnson only averaged 2 yards a carry.
He didn't even average that. It was under 2.
Yeah.
So somebody did an analysis of Iowa running backs, and when they had more success than the others. And they came up with the plan that Iowa had more success running the ball if they followed the tight end / fullback, who is Hayden Large, through the left end of through the left side of the line.
Sure.
I
mean, if you're telling me they're going to run behind Richmond and Feth or Richmond and
well, that's that's kind of goes into what I was saying. Like on that long run by Jazz, he followed Colby and Large. They both had big blocks. And then on that touchdown by Jazz, same thing. They Hayden pulled from the tight end position on the opposite side, right? Then it's from the weak side. So they pulled Connor from the guard spot. Then they pulled Hayden at the same time from the far tight end all the way around, and then Jazz just went flying through the hole and scored. So
if I do have a knock on Brian, because overall I think he's a better play caller than he's given credit for. And I understand the points per game aren't always there. To me, a lot of that's just execution by the players, because I mean the plays are there to be made. The guys are open and things like that. But my one real criticism of Brian is that he falls in love with plays sometimes. And it's just like
the tight end screen.
The tight end screen is the thing that, apparently that's what, he jerks off to at night. I don't know, but I mean, like,
or the jet sweep used 3 times in one game and never to be seen again in the second game.
The jet sweep I could see because the son of a bitch was working, right?
Right, yeah.
The jet sweep was working, so I was like, yeah, that's good. We can keep running, but we're going to keep running that dang tight end screen for 2 yards.
The jet sweep was his lotion this week, right? So he used the threat of the jet sweep just so he could throw the tight end screen. So
explain to me, for guys like myself, when I'm watching, I'm seeing what I'm seeing on the screen, but what is considered a tight end screen?
That's okay, Jared. It was fun though. You gotta get in the chat sometime.
So Iowa is as far as the tight end screen, it's just like a screen to the running back, except for so the offensive linemen are kind of releasing. And the tight end is supposed to kind of sneak in behind in the middle where the center would have been.
Yeah. He can't catch the ball over the line of scrimmage. He has to be behind it when he catches it.
Because we have linemen downfield trying to block.
Yeah, correct.
And so, I mean, that's what we're trying to accomplish with that is and we caught Kentucky in it, I think, in the bowl game. If I recall correctly, we caught them with it in that game.
Yeah, but did you see how many tackles Laporta broke?
Right.
I mean, that was mostly Laporta, just what refused to go down. But you're right. I think he went for 60 yards in the bowl game, if I remember right. But we also have that tight end screen that they would do to Laporta where he'd go all the way out to the sideline, back 7-8 yards, catch the ball, and the lineman, would flow over there. But the ball would always get there way before the lineman would, so there'd be guys over there. The delay in that one, they didn't put any delay in that screen. You have to have the right amount of delay when you run a screen pass. You have to make it look like a pass.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was Petrus or the way it's executed, because so far Cade has executed it really well. That one to Jazz was perfect, and if he just gets one block, that's an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah. And that was a 3rd and 15 conversion.
Yeah, that was a 3rd and 15 conversion. So Cade seems to get the timing down. I'm not sure Petras had that timing. I mean, I don't know how it was taught. Maybe Cade just knows, and it's not about how it's being taught. But Cade, he's good with the screen pass. But yeah, you have to have delay. Those tight end screens don't have enough delay in most of them. So, and by the time the tight end catches the ball like this last week, by the time the tight end catches it, he's getting contact because it literally you could see what it is.
Yeah.
They're not delayed. They're not doing anything.
And they're not.
You guys want to answer Jared's question here? He wants a great performance, offense, defense, special teams, and play calling, etc.
Okay. I'm going to start with offense. To me, I'll give it a B. I'm going to give it a B. There were missed opportunities.
Oh yeah, they could have scored, in the 30s.
We talked about Nico's interception and the lack of a flag there, so I'm not going to really I'm not going to fault Cade there. It wasn't one of like Rick Stanzi's pick sixes that he, where he just throws it right to a defender. Again, everybody's at this point, they're just going to load the box and ask us to beat them throwing the football until we prove that we can do it consistently. It makes it awfully tough to run the football.
Sad thing is once Cade gets the rust out, it will be consistent.
That
will open up the run game.
Yes, that's what they're waiting on.
And we talked about this on the Iowa State show. I've heard way too many people say, well, if you just take away the Patterson run, then they only averaged.
That's stupid. That's part of football game. That's part of it.
Yeah, you don't get to take away the best play and say, well, if you take away the best play.
Right.
Yeah,
it's just silly.
But this is also my argument for when everybody says that the last touchdown Utah State scored on us was against our second team. Okay, yeah, they did. They got an easy touchdown. Okay, but it's still part of the football game. It still counts.
It counts, sure.
But it doesn't count in the way you were trying to use it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The way you were trying to use it is it was bad, right? It doesn't count as to a bad towards the defense, which is what they're trying to do is say the offense is still bad because if you take away that one play, the running game was still bad. So, it's kind of the way you were kind of trying to use it. But I would give them a B as well. I'd give the offense a B, and to add the play calling into that, I would give him a B plus. Gosh, he had so many open plays. The receivers were wide open downfield, and Cade missed Lachey on that third drive of the game. It was on third down. Beautiful play, but Cade missed Lachey wide open. He missed Regini on that pass interference.
By the way, to the point too about if you just take away Patterson's big run, go look at the best running backs of all time, Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders would be the perfect one.
And go look at their
take away all their big runs, right?
Well,
no, out. They don't count.
You can take away their big runs. Just look at their run, their play-by-plays, and you're going to see 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 59 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 6 yards.
And Barry is the number one in NFL in plays lost.
Right.
Because, all his plays were electrifying, but some of them, it was a minus 3 yard run that just took 10 seconds for it to happen because he would make people miss. He got caught behind the line of scrimmage more than any other running back in history, and he still averaged 5 yards a carry in his career because you count the big ones.
Exactly.
So by using that logic, Akram Wadley, not Akram Wadley, who's the running back we just lost from Green Bay to
Goodson.
Goodson.
Yeah, he got caught his last season a lot behind the line of scrimmage. So that means he's just going to have a killer NFL year.
Yeah.
He's not even on a team right now.
He's on the Colts. He's on the Colts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he averaged 4.5 yards a carry, even though he got caught behind the line of scrimmage a lot.
Yeah.
Did his injury cost him a spot with the Green Bay Packers?
I think so. He was on his way. I mean, they were letting him play, and he was looking good. I mean, he scored a touchdown. He was running the ball really well. He was catching it. They used him a lot on third down as a receiver. I mean, he was looking good. I think he would have got a roster. Now, he wouldn't have made the game day roster because they have their 2 running backs that they love in A.J. Dillon and Aaron, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Number 32.
And they kept the rookie. They kept a rookie they just drafted this year.
Yep, but he's on the practice squad.
Okay.
But how would you grade the offense to keep this rolling?
I give it a B.
Okay.
Dean.
I'm going to give it a B, just because like for 2 games in a row we kind of had a lull there in the middle.
Yeah, but then the other thing too,
the score, but yeah.
The other thing worth pointing out, this was a team with an odd front. We've always kind of struggled against, but there were times where we absolutely handled that 3-3-5 just fine.
I mean, it was, and they're the number 1 defense in the Big 12.
Yeah, and guys, despite what my post might have looked like this morning, it wasn't meant to look like this, but I gave the defense a B overall. I thought they played hard. I just thought there was a couple times that they were just like, looked to me like they were playing soft, that they were pulling back, giving space,
because
giving
of the
space.
score.
Yeah.
Then if we want to get into defense, I kind of want to hear Paul's play calling, and then we can go to defense.
Okay, go, Paul.
How would you grade the play calling? Because that was part of the question too.
Okay.
I'd
give the play calling an A, to be honest with you. I mean, we popped off, some big runs. We had guys open. We took some shots. We just didn't complete them. But look, when plays work, it's amazing, what people think about the play calling. When plays don't work, well, the play calling's trash. It's
right. Well, they still think that way, even though Iowa's offense is doing majority of the scoring.
That too, right?
They still say, "Oh, the defense won again."
Yeah.
So that they win in week 1 when Iowa's offense scored every single point.
Yeah.
It's just
the defense. Yeah. You got to say, "Oh, thank God for that pick 6. It would have been a tie ball game."
No, the play calling would have been different because they would have had to score.
Right.
That
I agree with you on. I would agree. We have been in a different predicament.
Oh yeah, the moment the pick 6 happened, the coach Kirk, was like, "Oh, all right, we're gonna just lock this down and we're gonna win this thing." So he didn't pass. He completed 7 passes in a row in the third quarter, which led them down to get another field goal to go up 20-3. And then in the fourth quarter, he only passed 2 times.
Right.
And Iowa State had the ball like 10, 11 minutes of the fourth quarter. One of their drives was 14 plays and 7 minutes to get their touchdown.
Yeah.
Right? So that was exactly what the coaches want. Hey, we'll let you get the first down. Just let's keep that clock going. So
I did think that was kind of like funny watching Iowa State go down to get that touchdown, and it's like, you guys are taking way too much time.
Yeah, they were just kind of dicking around, weren't they? I mean,
I'm watching the clock go. Keep it going, clock. Keep it going.
Tick, tick, tick.
And that's what Iowa's coaches were doing. But Iowa State was thinking, we have a young quarterback. We're not gonna. It won't do us any good if we throw an interception, if we do something silly, right?
Mm-hmm.
The coaches, what I gathered from Campbell's post, the way his post game went, as he was saying, this is the best he's ever played against Iowa, which is a lie. He's saying that for his freshman,
right?
But the way he was acting, I kind of think they were just like, let's just get something positive, right? Mm-hmm. If we get a touchdown here, we can get it within 1 score. It doesn't look as bad, right? They didn't care about the clock at all. They just wanted to touch on that drive. Otherwise, nothing else mattered, right? So that was their mindset, I'm thinking. And obviously, and look what happened, Dean. What happened, kind of how the defense handled it. When Iowa State got the ball, this is how I grade the defense as well. I give the defense an A because when it was game time, when it was like, oh, I guess we got to play defense again, they shut down. They made Iowa State go 4 and out. They didn't get 1 first down. I mean, that's how I grade them. Is you got to see where they're at, what the coaches are doing, right? The coaches could care less about stopping them, making them.
Oh yeah. Your response to me today on that Facebook post was, I mean, that made sense to me when I thought about it. What you were saying, because when push came to shove and they had to stop them on that last drive, they really were pushing in and coming after them, and I hadn't seen that most of the game.
Well, they could have been doing that the whole game if the game was 0-0. That's just what I'm trying to explain. And I'm going to talk about this on my first show. You got to understand, like, what is going on in the game. Iowa runs the strategy that it's all about the score and the clock. That is Kirk's philosophy to win. So if the score is dictating, Iowa's offense has been scoring in the first half. They've had big first-half leads, both games. Something we didn't have last year. The defense had to be good. The defense had to be top 10 or Iowa wasn't going to win, right? There was no – go ahead.
Nobody in the stadium might have been more surprised by Iowa State's lack of like they really weren't in like a 2-minute offense. They really weren't trying to play with tempo, right? And so, I mean, I think once we kind of realized, hey, they're in no real hurry. Well, you know what? If they're going to screw around, we're going to let them, right? I mean, if they're okay running out 6 minutes or 7 minutes of clock, let them.
Yeah. I had a long text messaging back and forth with a friend of mine who season ticket holder at Iowa State, and he was at the game, and we were kind of joking how Iowa State almost looked like they just adopted the Iowa offensive philosophy for this game.
But
clock management wise,
one thing, I love the movie Moneyball, even though I know it's not really historically accurate in a lot of ways, but
it's not. Darn it! I thought it was.
But there's the scene where Billy Beane,
it is a good movie.
He's telling the guys, hey, if they lay down a bunt, pick it up and throw it to first, right? If they're gonna make a mistake, let them make a mistake, But we're, take what just.
You're putting pressure on the defense, regardless, even in small ball and baseball, which is what Iowa usually does, right? You're putting pressure on the defense. You're just letting them – you're hoping they make a mistake. You bunt it and let them throw it down to first, and, sometimes that ball just goes a-flying, right?
Right.
So, and that's what Iowa's defense is. Yeah. It is to – let's let them make a mistake. That's a perfect analogy.
Well, I think we got very fortunate with Cade and the NIL money we spent that we didn't lose him for the season, because the Jets spent a lot of money on Aaron Rodgers and they don't have him all the rest of the season.
Zip your pie hole.
They had him for 4 plays.
Zip your pie hole. Why would you discuss that?
Jared,
why, are you an Aaron Rodgers fan?
No, I'm a Cade fan. Don't put that in the universe.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was trying to say how fortunate we were.
Knock on some wood.
Jared's got a great comment here at the bottom of the comments here about a quote from Napoleon, and that's exactly right. And in Iowa State's case, their mistake was their lack of
time
management, their lack of a sense of urgency about it, knowing they needed 2 scores. They were driving the ball like they had a lead, like they were in a 4-minute chew the clock offense. And if they're going to be that way, don't stop them. Right?
Yeah. And that's kind of, but like I said, I feel after listening to Campbell's post game, I think they were just, let's get this within 1 score. It would be a moral victory. Right, and these young kids will be happier, more excited because they scored against Iowa.
No, you saw Campbell on the sideline saying, "I just need 1 stop, guys. I just need 1 stop."
Well, that was after the touchdown. That was after they already got the touchdown. Yeah, you score. There's 3 minutes left. You still want to pump them up,
right?
I mean, it was obvious what they were doing when they got the ball.
Yeah.
And
Do you guys feel? Because I don't feel like we've had a decent pass rush all season so far in 2 games. And maybe we don't really need it. I don't know. And maybe that's the reason why we've not seen it. But I'm surprised with this young quarterback making only his second start in a big game like this that we didn't chase him down more, because I've seen Phil Parker go after young quarterbacks and just teach them a lesson or two and welcome them to a Big Ten game or whatever.
I think did you see how long that quarterback had the ball in his hands?
Not very long.
Exactly. You're not going to get to these quarterbacks who know they can't block the linemen.
Same with Utah State. Everything they barely threw balls beyond the line of scrimmage. Everything they were doing a lot of horizontal Greg Davis offense and just get the ball out quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of that. You got that Drew Aller, what's his name, at Penn State. He's proven to be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and Jason promised us he wouldn't be.
He's not. He won't be. Who's he played? What defense?
Number-wise, he's like 1, 2, or 3.
I don't care about numbers. They don't run Iowa style. Put Cade in that offense, a healthy Cade in that offense, and you're going to see the same stuff except the running ability that Aller has.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me beating Delaware or whoever the hell they played, and then West Virginia. West Virginia is god awful. Delaware, I mean, they put 6, but they run a different style of offense.
Yeah.
Wait till they play a defense. Like I said, I still stand by it. Drew's going to throw 2 or 3 picks against Iowa. Right? You can't look at these numbers now. I mean, after they play nobody, because it depends on what the coaches want you to do. Right? Coaches, it depends on what the coaches allow you to do when you're up 30-0. Kirk shuts everything down. Numbers just aren't fair because Kirk only cares about the W.
Right, and he explains that time and time again. He tells everybody that. He says, hey,
Yeah.
He knows that people are complaining about it. He goes, people complain about our style points, but we win, and that's what we're supposed to do.
We're not sexy, but man.
I mean, think about that. It's not about the offense. If the offense just scores 10 points, and gets up by double digits, that's when Kirk's style loses, is when they don't do that. Right. You see that stat? They're 64
and 2 or something.
Right? When they have 8 or more point lead at any point in the game.
Right.
It tells you his style works. The problem is you got to get that 8 to 10 point lead.
Right.
Which Iowa has had both games this season. They've had double digit in the first quarter, in the beginning of the second quarter. They've had a 10-point or more lead in both games.
The other thing and we haven't even brought this up yet, as far as defensively goes, we've been playing a freshman at one corner that's been getting picked on because nobody wants to throw toward Cooper DeJean. They don't want to throw towards X, right? But now we're going to have Jamari Harris back.
Now you're going to pick your poison.
Right.
You're just going to have to. And I'm telling you, as long as Harris stays healthy and he brings his 2021 self into the game, it's going to be – And with Cade running the offense, if the offense just keeps getting better every week.
Well, this is something I don't know that if I've ever really seen Kirk do. I don't recall a time where a player there was internally known suspension and a guy is still listed as like number 1 on the depth chart at his position.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, this tells me that he's pretty good, right? You know what I mean? Because if he wasn't and he was suspended, he wouldn't be listed number 1 on the depth chart.
It is kind of a blessing in disguise because, we got to look at his backup, Lee, and he proved himself as far as I'm concerned. He proved himself, and now we got some depth there where everybody was a little concerned about the depth.
Right. And no, he's not Cooper DeJean, but if Cooper flies the coop and goes to the NFL after this year, I feel good about Lee starting at one of the corners. I feel good about, I don't know if Harris is, I think he's only a junior maybe or sophomore.
Well, he's a junior.
He's a junior. Okay. So I mean, we can roll with that as our corners next year. I mean,
I agree. And now
X will be back next year for sure, unless he transfers out. But yeah, Cooper's gone. You can count on it.
You don't know that. Cooper loves it. He don't need the money.
And and you might be right.
With this NIL, like Caitlin Clark said, I mean, I don't have to go pro. I'm a millionaire here at playing for Iowa. And when I go pro, I'm only going to make a couple $100,000 a year. She could take the sponsors with her.
Yeah, unless of course she can figure out how to get drafted by the Indiana women's WNBA team, so she can be right there with her.
Maybe if Indiana has the number 1 pick, she goes. But
yeah, I don't think Indiana's a very good team, so it's very possible.
With this NIL, it's all about if the kid really has heart to want to stay. I think we're going to see more kids stay, and Cooper may be one of them. I don't know what he's thinking. His family doesn't need the money. They got money. It's not like he's in a hurry to get to the NFL because his family needs him to. So that's the kind of situation where it's up to the kid if he just wants to stick out another year. And maybe if Cade comes back one more year, maybe Coop will, especially if this is a good year, right? If this year's as good as I think it's going to be, they both might come back and want to, go to the next level if they don't win the Big Ten championship.
So Ohio State, Notre Dame, Iowa, and Penn State are on TV at the same time?
Yeah.
I guess, according to this.
No. Well, you haven't seen
that Notre Dame Ohio State game is going to just suck all the oxygen out of the room, no matter what. I mean, it really doesn't matter what game is up against that.
Well, no, that's what he's saying is, and what I think he's saying is, all the Big Ten games are on at the exact same time, so you can't watch Big Ten football all day. You have one at 11 a.m.
Penn State games at night.
All the rest of them are at 7:30 or 6:30, whatever the hell the time is.
Right.
It is the weirdest. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, I mean, for me to answer Casey's question here, yes, Iowa's ratings will be hurt by it, but every other game that's on in that time slot will also get hurt by that game being on, because I just think it's, that game's gonna. It's just. Notre Dame draws a big crowd. Now you put Notre Dame, Ohio State, stir the egos, all that bullshit,
Especially with
Notre Dame is. So it's a 6:30 p.m. game. I don't know if that's what time zone that is. The Iowa game on CBS. I don't know what channel Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's 6:30. It's 6:30 on NBC, and then every game is on at 6:30. It's the dumbest thing ever. Yeah, it's going to hurt Iowa's TV ratings. But
all of them are 6:30.
All of them. All of them are 6:30. It's nuts. Like, it's been tweeted about 100 times. That's how I first. One of my former Hawkeye players who likes to message me. He sent me this thing that says it said there's like one Big Ten team on at 11 a.m. and then he was really mad, and every other Big Ten game was on at 6:30 on a different channel.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I noticed today when I was watching Big Ten today, live show, they have started to bring in the Pac-12 teams and talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
And they even interviewed one of the girls from the volleyball team from them. So they're starting to introduce us slowly to the Pac-12 teams that are coming in. Should we, since we're getting up on time here and it's already been an hour, should we go ahead and make our picks?
Let's do our picks.
Let's do it.
Okay. Penn State at Illinois. Jason, go. Tell me.
Penn State.
Paul.
It's Penn State by a lot.
And I would have to agree with you guys. That I would love to see Illinois come up. I mean, I don't know if Illinois can beat them, but I would love the Illinois defense just to get rough and tough and maybe knock out a quarterback or two.
They're not the same team they were.
I want Iowa to see Drew. I do not want Drew knocked out.
All right. Okay. Virginia at Maryland. A couple of old ACC teams going at it.
It's going to be Maryland.
Yeah, I'll take Maryland.
Virginia is still struggling after that school shooting that they had a year ago when they canceled football. So they're still trying to get back.
Okay.
They're also missing their all ACC linebacker, Nick Jackson.
I'm also taking Maryland.
They are.
Okay. Here's one that I think could go either way despite the ranking. Minnesota at North Carolina.
Oh, give me North Carolina all day long.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to go with Minnesota just to go against Paul. But I think it's going to be a defensive good game. So I might as well go with the –
Yeah. Minnesota's 2-0, and they're not looking – offensive-wise, they're not looking great, but defense, they're looking pretty nice.
They can play some defense.
They're looking really good on defense, and they have a they have a they found their Ibrahim.
Yeah, but they have not gone on the road yet. This is going to be a true road game. Now I don't know that North Carolina is a snake pit as far as it's certainly not Kinnick, right? But it's still a road game. I believe their coach is Mac Brown, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But defense travels. True. I think it's just going to be another good game.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm tempted to pick Minnesota here.
I will say North Carolina does have the second best quarterback in the country. So.
Okay. There you
go. I'm tempted to pick Minnesota, but I'm going to pick UNC because they are at home and they are a little. I think he just basically told us in his own way, but they are a little bit on the more offensive side. So let's see if they can pick apart what the other two teams couldn't do. Was
unless there's a 5-hour delay, like there was, Purdue and Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech would have won that game without the shenanigans of the weather. But anyway,
Purdue was up 17-0 at one time.
I'm just bitter.
What was the final score?
24-17.
Oh,
Tyrone Grayson took over, man. He had a 21-yard touchdown run right up the middle.
It was like a COVID game, though. I mean, by the time there was nobody left in the stadium, it was just.
Yeah. You guys remember our game at Iowa State? That was how many hours was that? Okay, Louisville at Indiana.
I'm going to go Louisville.
I'm going to take the Hoosiers at home. They looked pretty good against Indiana State.
They did, but what's his nuts? He could still score a ton of points, and I'm not sure Indiana could keep up.
Oh, that's right. Braum is back at Louisville, isn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They kind of look like Purdue, even the uniforms.
Yeah. I mean, you could see their offense is exactly the same as what Purdue had. They can, and nobody down there plays defense.
Right.
And I know Indiana looked good against Ohio State too. Maybe Indiana does have a good defense, but I don't think their offense is very good.
Yeah, and the game is at Indiana, right?
Yes,
I believe so. Yep. So I mean, you might be right. I mean, stick with the Hoosiers, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Indiana, but
I took Louisville.
Man, I'm out here on an island.
I know, but
I'm on an island with Nebraska and regretting it. Now I'm on an island with Indiana. It's like I don't learn my lesson.
I gotta tell you the truth. I'm tempted to pick Indiana.
You just said you learned your lesson, and now
well, he didn't know he was gonna be at an island until just now.
Right.
Okay. Tennessee at Florida. Paul, you go first.
I don't know what you guys know about the history of this game, but Tennessee hasn't won at Florida since like 2002 or 2003. It has been just a house of horrors for Tennessee to come into the swamp. Now they are so much better than Florida is.
But I mean, how is Florida still a team on the downside? Or are they starting to rise a little bit?
No, not really.
I'm going to reluctantly take Tennessee here because all good things must come to an end. And I believe that streak that Florida has over Tennessee, winning at home, I think it'll come to an end. I like Josh Heupel. I like their offense. I just think it's too much for Florida in this one.
I'm surprised though that streak is continuing when you consider Tennessee's been a fairly decent team the last few years.
There's just fluky stuff that happens in this series.
But Josh Heupel has only been there one time, right?
I don't even know if he's been there yet.
Is this his second or third year?
I thought this was his second year at Tennessee.
It could be. I was just shocked to say it myself that in 1 year he turned Tennessee into what he did.
Right.
That was his first year. Yeah, I'm going Tennessee too.
Okay. You guys talked me into it. I'm going with Tennessee.
Tennessee runs my NASCAR offense. It's a lot wider.
Okay.
I mean, Tennessee uses every square inch of that.
Okay. Here's a game with two former Big 12 teams going at it. Kansas State at Missouri. I kind of know where I'm leaning. I'm going to go with Kansas State.
I'm sorry. What was the Kansas State and who?
And Missouri.
Oh, Kansas State.
I'm not going out on an island here with Missouri. Give me Kansas State.
That would be a tough one, I think. Hey, speaking of Kansas State, KJ has 3 catches this year.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, good. I forgot to watch for him when I'm watching there.
Wait, I thought the other one went there.
No, the other one.
The other one went to Oklahoma State and got
Oklahoma
suspended.
State. Yeah, he's okay.
He ain't playing.
He's done.
He ruined his career. That's sad.
Somebody's
okay. This is the. I'm going to put it as part of our picks for 7 this week, but yeah, this one's straight Iowa across the board. I already know it, but Western Michigan and Iowa. This just gives us an extra win, guys.
Iowa. If anybody picks Western Michigan, I'm going to laugh my butt off. The only thing I could see, I mean, it's almost a lock, really. The under for the game is almost a lock. The 28 points is like right on that edge because I think this is one of those games where the coaches won't have a choice because Iowa's going to be able to run the ball, throw the ball, do whatever they want against this team. I mean, they're bad. We thought Utah State was bad, or at least I did, because they had 50-some new players come in. But Utah State, actually, the coaches did a great job with them. They're doing okay.
Yeah.
This Western Michigan team, they like to just send the house because they don't have anybody up front to stop the run. So, yeah, I just think this is one of those games Iowa should score 40. This is one of those games where Cade's going to have a bad day for him not to score 40, I think.
Jared's going with 31-13. What about you guys? You guys want to put a score down?
I mean, sure. I'll just put down 42-10.
31-6.
And what did you say again?
I'll take Iowa 31-6.
What did Jason say? I forgot.
42-10.
42-10.
Okay, and I took 35-3. Paul and I are kind of barking up about the same tree there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if they don't score 40 this week, it's going to be tough the rest of the way. I mean,
yeah.
I can't see any reason why.
Okay. You guys want to talk about what's going on at Michigan State at all?
Not really.
Jared asked our thoughts on it. I will say this, though, the interim coach or the acting coach, as they're calling him, I was really impressed. I watched his, I think it was yesterday morning, I watched his news conference. Man, he's a likable guy. He's a real likable guy when you just listen to him talk and joke around with the reporters. And he'll even say, like, somebody asked him about the injuries on his team, and he goes, you guys know I've been around Belichick, so I speak Belichick. Yeah. And he goes, so I'm just going to tell you, day to day, Betty, day to day. Yeah. Then he says that, of course, he's got Saban, who will only be up in the sky to just be somebody to bounce off of. He won't actually be coaching. He'll just be – he's there for information and ideas and stuff like that. advisory. But he said that he and the Tonto also speak Sabanese.
Very nice.
Yeah, I actually talked to my wife about this today because I think it's a setup. I mean, because it was on the phone. I asked my wife what she would do in that situation, and my wife said, well, "I would just hang up the phone." Yeah,
Right.
it just seems so weird that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know enough about what's going on to know if this lady is being truthful or if she's just trying to set this guy up. Why she would set this guy up after he invited her to talk to his players about that kind of stuff because he wanted to make sure the players were aware.
People are saying, well, I'm getting all kinds of people telling me stuff about it, that she was getting ready to get let go, and but they had conversations that were over 30 minutes long, a bunch of them before that time, and the coach admits to what happened, even though he's married, right? He's like, yeah, it happened. I apologize for it or whatever. But she was involved too. She was on the phone for over 30 minutes. If she really didn't want to be a part of it, she would have hung up. This is one of those really weird, like one of those that don't make sense type situations.
Yeah, well, why is she going after him? He had nothing to do with her career. All he did was invite somebody who had some experience.
What do you mean? Why wouldn't she go after him?
It's just a payday.
Thank you.
A what?
Payday.
It's just a payday.
Oh.
Whether it's from him or the university or whoever, and look where we are. Remember, we had this whole Me Too movement and things like that. And strike while that iron's hot.
Let me guess, and she probably set the talk up, and so she probably setting it up for this and taking down a good man.
It turns out he liked her. This is why you just don't do that kind of stuff. Like. It turns out he liked her a little bit, and she must have used it. Look at that, 27 conversations.
27 out of 30, yeah. 27 over 30
And this wasn't a physical thing. Everything was over the phone. So how can you say, I was harassed over the phone? Well, why didn't you hang up, ma'am?
Hang up.
You're at home. Why didn't you hang up? So, yeah, Dean, you got to start, like think outside the box a little bit.
Bottom line, fellas, just a free nickel's worth of free advice here. If you're married or in a relationship, don't be jerking it over the phone, okay? Just don't do it. Nothing good. It does not end well for us.
Okay, you're talking to a guy who's been married for 40 years.
If it's one of those moments.
And I'm so old, I don't even know these things anymore.
If it's one of those moments, just go to the bathroom, do it, get it over with, and go mow the yard.
Go take a nap if you're my age, right?
Okay, yeah. And boy, on that note, we should probably end that.
That's fine. This situation is just really weird. I suggest everybody just learn about it and read about it because it's weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. Take care. We shall see you. Jason you want to talk about real quick your podcast for tomorrow so you can let people know what's going on?
Well, sure. I'm not exactly sure what time. This will be the very first one. So I'm still getting
the pilot.
It'll be the pilot.
Okay. The pilot episode.
It's going to be called, it's on my everything Iowa Sports on YouTube. It's going to be called the Fifth Down Show. So it'll be the fifth down, which would be like after the show, and it'll be all the content about the games, and then before the games as well. So the show will be called the Fifth Down. Somebody actually gave me that idea, and I like
it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I wish you success. I'll be watching too. Whenever you go on live.
I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be something where I obviously stream for games. Paul, are you going to be able to make this game?
What do you mean?
Well,
the chat that we had last game.
We watched the game together, so then you could talk about the game.
I should be able to be on there.
I mean, it's not for everybody, but I was just saying, like, if you're watching at home and you want to just join the chat, because it was really fun. Everybody, we were all having a lot.
You could do like I did. There was a couple times I just put the phone down and walked away and watched the game, and then came back later and joined the chat. If somebody missed me.
Oh yeah, somebody was like, "Hey, where'd Dick?" Or yeah, where'd Dick go?
I come back. I go. I just type. I'm right here.
So yeah, I mean, it was fun. The most people we had at one time was 14.
Okay.
But I know on YouTube it's going to be. I mean, I have a lot more than that actually asking me to do it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I was switching back and forth between your Twitter account and your Facebook account.
I was going to say, yeah, and people, Paul, if you're just more interested in the listening, or you just want to talk as the game goes instead of chat, I'm doing a Twitter space as well, so you could join my space.
And that will allow us to come on and talk to you live, right?
Yeah, and then you and I could just talk during the game about what's going on.
Would that be a SpaceX?
Yes. I still don't know how to say X. That is the weirdest name. How do you just call something X? I can't do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, guys. Other than we might both be with Jason on his game chat for Saturday.
The live show for the game day live.
Game day live. You will see us. See us, our names popping up there, and might even get a chance to get on there and talk live. But other than that, the three of us will be back together on Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central, and we'll dissect everything Western Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, one last thing I just want to say, not Hawkeye related, but the NFL game of the weekend could very well be my Jaguars against the Chiefs. So we will see, but that could be the showdown of the weekend.
It actually should be, because the Chiefs lost game 1. So if they go 0-2, woo. I don't know if Mahomes has ever been 0-2.
I forgot who beat the Chiefs.
The Lions.
The Lions, yes.
By the way,
Lions, a great victory.
I heard an interesting stat today.
Yes.
Of the 58 Super Bowl winners, 46 of them won their game in week 1. So
the Jaguars are on their way.
Yeah, we have Super Bowl.
Go Jags. Go Jags.
My Broncos lost. They suck. Whatever.
I think the Vikings won, didn't they?
Nope.
Or no? They lost too?
Yeah.
Who'd they lose to?
Since you are a Broncos fan, I know you hate the Chiefs anyway, so you can be an honorary Jaguar fan on Sunday for sure.
I've been a Jaguar fan, like, as far as, like, I just root for them. You have those teams. I do the same thing to, like, the Atlanta Falcons. But the Jaguars, ever since they drafted Tavian Banks.
Yes.
I've always liked them. Then the Falcons was because I liked Deion Sanders when he was there. So, and my best friend from high school is a huge Falcons fan.
There you go.
I kind of got in with Deion there, and then with
that's the same thing with me and the 49ers, because I'm a Viking fan first, but when CJ and Kittle went to the 49ers, and then Kittle started having some success that first year, and then CJ came off the bench and was throwing passes to him. That just made it fun, man. That made it fun. Felt like I was watching Iowa all over again.
Except for my hatred of all things Tennessee Titans, I don't really have any like or dislike for any other NFL franchises. So when I do turn on a game, the team that has more Hawkeyes is the one that I end up,
even in your own division.
Yeah, the Titans are in the division, but
That's
I will tell you this.
So you like the other teams in the division?
I don't care about them. I mean, they're
because I hate the Raiders. I hate the Chiefs. Everybody.
My Jaguars have sucked for so long, except for a season here or there. It's not like
Okay. Cowboys are the only team I totally despise.
Yeah, and then
I won't watch unless they're playing a team I'm rooting for.
And if there was a team in the division that I could, hate outside of Tennessee, it would have been the Colts. But I kind of had a soft spot, when they had Bob Sanders and Dallas Clark and everything. So it's like, well, man, I can't even hate the Colts. So
yeah. I loved Peyton Manning. I loved before he was a Bronco.
Right.
I love Dallas Clark. That offense was so Marvin Harrison.
Right.
Oh, the Colts. Yeah, Colts were fun to watch.
Marshall Faulk before he went to the Rams. I just love that offense. But
well, then they had Edgerrin James after that. You know.
Yeah. Speaking of Rich, before he went to the Rams, I just watched the repeat of the Kurt Warner story movie, and all the film clips from their Super Bowl year. Falk was there, a big part of that.
Oh yeah,
sure was.
Yeah, he was the. I think he was the first running back to ever rush for 1,000 and receive for 1,000 in the same season.
Yeah,
I'm almost positive. Roger Craig came really close, but I don't think he got it with the 49ers. But yep, I think they'll lose. They'll beat Oregon, but I think they probably lose the USC, just because that's going to be a 60 to freaking 50 type game.
I'd say they lose to both.
I don't see how Oregon. I don't see how Oregon beats them. Oregon's not as good as what people want them to be.
Really?
I guess we'll see. I mean,
you guys realize that all 4 teams coming from the Pac-12 are ranked?
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the Pac-12.
Yeah. They're 4 good programs. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I know that we want to get out of here, but the Big Ten only has 4 ranked teams. There are 7 ranked teams in the Pac-12, and they're supposed to be the down league.
Well, it's the beginning of the year.
Right.
Rankings right now don't matter.
I agree with you. I don't think the rankings should come out until. I think the only rankings that should come out is when the playoff one comes out, and that's should be the only one that will count. But I mean,
it makes it more fun. It's fun to talk about, but I am not worried about any of those teams against Iowa. Wait till they run into a team that plays defense.
Right.
None of those teams go up against anybody that plays
defense in November in Iowa.
Right. So it's a wait and see for me.
Yeah. Let's bring all 4 Pac-12 teams to Iowa in November, one right after the other.
Back to back to back. All righty.
All right, guys. Thanks for participating. Thanks, you guys that are online and commented tonight or watching. Thanks for participating. Don't forget to share this, like it, and subscribe.
That's right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Terry.
Go Hawks.
Bye, Terry.